Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the simulation. My name is Reese. Today is Thursday, the 16th of October, 2025, and we've got a great show. Good show for you today. Pretty good show, I would say. All sorts of things I want to get into. I've not got the best lighting set up at the moment, but we're gonna roll with it. It is what it is. I'm not a professional. I'm a professional waffler, and it ends there. That's my profession. But yeah, I've got a few things to talk about today. Obviously, the title of the show is False Idols. Because false idols are a necessary part of the simulation. They're a necessary element to prevent you from having a neutral opinion about those that are depopulating you, replacing you, etc., etc. We're also going to talk about this Donald Trump, the Trump administration seemingly planning to prioritize refugee claims from white Europeans who oppose mass migration. And I wouldn't really be covering this if it weren't for the fact that people were calling it based. So based! Oh, he's so based! I've seen multiple people who are allegedly far right or right wing calling this based. And I'll tell you why it isn't based at all. I've also noticed, a few things with digital ID and the carbon footprint thing that is not exactly getting swept under the carpet. I mean, it's basically mainstream. Carbon limits. This is this percent of your carbon. This is that percent of your carbon. I saw a sandwich, 8%. I saw some pasta, a little bit more. Can't really riddle you how pasta is. I don't know. Maybe there's logic to it. Someone is going to have to riddle that to me. And then there was another thing. So then there's that. And then we'll also get into this viral incident where there was a shoplifter, allegedly, potentially, or that's what it seemed to be, a shoplifter in Iceland who was getting hit over, something, whipped maybe by a store worker. And I've seen some reaction around that from the typical suspects, and I want to give my analysis on it. And at this point, I would totally get the allegation or the argument that this is like a one-sided thing, or that anything else. But I feel like it does need to be said. I feel like there needs to be some sort of conversation about it. But that's what will be the show today. And then after that, we'll do a Minecraft stream. I will close the stream down and then do another one. We'll do Minecraft. We'll pick back up where we left off with the Minecraft world if I can. Hopefully I can. Probably do that for about half an hour, 45 minutes, depending on how long the show is today. So yes, that's what it's going to be today. Should be a good show for everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope you've had a good day. Me myself, I did have a good day. I think it was pretty good. The weather's questionable, but is what it is. I've been conscious of the weather for too long now, so it doesn't really get to me so much. But anyway, without further ado, let's jump into what I want to talk about here, which is false idols. Now, as I say, false idols are a necessary part of the simulation. Why? Because there are people who are depopulating you and replacing you, and me, all of us, and changing humanity to robots, basically, so that the global elite can have total control over literally everything. Now, in order for that to happen, you can't have a neutral viewpoint of the billionaires that are doing it. For example, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, or any of these other ones, right? I feel like it's either very negative or very positive, because if there is a general neutral point of view on these people, then the masses can shift very quickly with learning about something. For example, if you didn't think that Bill Gates was this environmentally aware philanthropist and that he was trying to save the world, then you might think when he's adding Bovar to the feed of cows that's a bit questionable. Or you might, when he's has plans to dim the sun via weather manipulation, you might see that as a bad thing rather than try and understand the reason behind it, because the supposed reason behind dimming the sun would be prevent climate change and therefore save the world. And if you have a positive view of Bill Gates, then that's the view you're going to take. Whereas if you have a neutral one, then you're not really going to have that, right? And obviously Bill Gates is pretty, I think there's a universal opinion at this point that we don't like Bill Gates. He's not got the good of humanity in his heart. He's been involved in all sorts of weird things. And so it's important that they give you different billionaires to revere. And we'll come on to that. But before we get to the billionaires, we need to get to the politicians and the political actors. Like, for example, Nigel Farage. Now, it is necessary for you to revere Nigel Farage. Why? Because he is, not only is he part of the deep state, but he is the man who will lead us into the technocratic world. He's the man with the Muslim chair, the Muslim head of policy, that will lead us into digital ID and social credit and all of these other things. So, it's extremely important that you have a reasonably good viewpoint of him before that, so that the masses don't wake up immediately, right? Keir Starmer, everybody hates him, and no one really looked at him positively. And that means that he might be subject to a vote of no confidence, and maybe other things, right? Maybe political attacks, you might say. Not that I'm endorsing that, but one sec. But yeah, so Nigel Farage, I mean, he and all of these idols, right? They have a few things in common. One of them is that they are salesmen. Another is that they are relatable, or at least they try and appear to be relatable. Now, Nigel Farage is selling us an anti-establishment party. One that is not part of the Uni Party, Tory or Labour, not part of the establishment coalition that we've seen previously with the Lib Dems. It's not a radical left party like the Green Party that is focused on the climate narrative. I would call it the H word, but I don't really want to get banned. So I'm trying to, monitor, if you like, monitor my speech, monitor what I say. But he is selling us an anti-establishment party, at least at first, right? It's an anti-establishment party that's for the people, populist rhetoric, and kind of appearing as a moderate that's concerned about immigration, because the Overton window on immigration has shifted towards anti-immigration, I think quite organically, because of what we're seeing on the streets, what we're seeing in the hotels, and all these other things, right? So it's very important for you to revere Nigel Farage before he gets into power, and it's a Muslim party, and it's one that's a Muslim party that has control of digital ID and begins to get the UK closer to that smart city destination, the AI replacement destination. Now, Reform has a Doge, how would you call it? The Doge department. So, well, that is a department. So it has a Department of Government Efficiency, which is what the Trump administration has, and that is connected to Elon Musk and obviously, well, not obviously, but also Peter Thiel. And we know that Peter Thiel and Elon Musk have all sorts of historic dealings, and I'm going to get into that. But the point of that is to say, if there is a Department of Government Efficiency, we know now that it isn't necessarily just about cutting government spending. It's about AI and human tracking and, via digital surveillance. They have been doing this with immigrants. Matter of fact, I might try and pull that article up just for you real quick, just so I can be thorough. Just a moment. But, so what we're looking at here... Yes, so Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, which is an advisory group for the Trump administration, has collaborated with Peter Thiel's company Palantir on an initiative to build a mega API for the IRS. Musk uses Doge as an acronym for this project, which also stands for the cryptocurrency Dogecoin, a coin Musk has supported. And that was another thing I was going to mention, actually, the promotion of Dogecoin, and anyone who's doing that, you should never be taking them seriously. You should never be listening to them. But if Doge in America is affiliated with Palantir. I would argue that it's reasonable to assume that Doge in England will be associated with Palantir. So they're selling you, as I've said, everything that I've said so far. And in reality, it will be, Muslim head of policy overseeing digital ID, Muslim London mayor candidate, and ultimately a Sharia-friendly haven, a Sharia-friendly party that will be very tolerant to Islam and will promote Islam most likely, and also be a very friendly place for asylum seekers. Do I believe that they are going to prevent the asylum seeker or invader problem? Well, no, because if they were going to do that, then they'd be talking about the 1951 Refugee Convention and not the Human Rights Act, in my opinion. Not to mention he's there for the big money, for all of his rich friends, right? So that's kind of like the first layer. And then you've got, people who are a bit further to the right, maybe, who view Nigel Farage as too moderate, too centrist. You might say that Nigel Farage's Reform Party or Nigel Farage himself was responsible for Brexit, which has caused the small boat crossing crisis to be so bad. You might say that the Brexit Party is full of Tories, which are establishment MPs. You might say that Nigel Farage was an establishment MP in the European Parliament, and also the Conservative Party before that. So clearly he is an establishment politician. So maybe you realize that, right? And then you wanna look to someone else. So you might look to Tommy Robinson, who is another false idol. What is he selling you? Tommy Robinson is selling you a journalist who cares deeply about the women and children of the UK. Now, I'm not going to lie, when I say that, I can't barely even say that with a straight face, this idea that Robinson, or Yaxley Lennon, is really interested about the English women and children of our country. Maybe he used to be, when he was I'm not completely opposed to this idea if he was originally an organic grassroots political activist. But he's obviously a radical Zionist now, right? So he's kind of selling you this journalist that's doing all these undercover work, exposing things that the state failed to do. And he has done that, right? So it's not really a complete lie of a sell. He acts like a patriot, and he does have the ability to rally people around a cause. And he has got the ability to raise the flags. Operation Raise the Colours, orchestrated by Andy Saxon, who is a long-time ally of Tommy Robinson. And the smart people on the right, it seems, not that there are many, but it seems that they maybe are coming to realise this, and especially after the Israeli flags went up. Again, there's not many smart people on the right, but the ones that are smart are starting to realise that it's a bit of a psyop, maybe. It's a little bit too on the nose. So that's his sell, right? And he's relatable in a sense because, he's always on Twitter. They threw him in jail, and I believe his jail thing, I think there's good reason to believe that it was a stunt. I mean, if you think about the fact that he's a Mossad operative, I mean, it's pretty reasonable to conclude that his jail sentence was a bit of a stunt to make people be like, oh my god, the state is persecuting him, they must hate him. Most hated, therefore, most hated by the state. So therefore most loved by the people. Kind of like that, right? So selling you a journalist with integrity who cares about women and children in this country. But in reality, he is a Zionist, pro-Israel, and he's a Mossad operative tasked with demonizing Islam and getting the Western man to be fearful of radical Islamism and just Islam in general. But specifically radical Islamism. And that is extremely necessary, similarly to Farage, but this is extremely necessary that you revere Tommy Robinson for the Israelis, for the Zionist cult. Because they need to have regime change in Iran. Absolutely need it, without question. Because if they don't get that, then they won't get Greater Israel, and they must have that from their point of view. So it is essential that Tommy Robinson does his job correctly and demonizes Islam to the point where the Western man is fearful of the influence of Iran. And therefore, they are willing to get on board with helping Israel to help us, right? He's making it seem like Israel is doing us a favor by overthrowing the regime in Iran, when in reality, we are doing them a favor by helping them get greater Israel. And so he is a very important political actor. And this is why he is, promoted so much, funded by Middle Eastern Forum, and funded by Elon Musk. Elon Musk, it came out recently, well, Tommy Robinson said it himself, that Elon Musk was paying for his legal costs. And we can reasonably assume that that isn't the only money he's taken from Elon Musk, or at least the only help that he's taken from Elon Musk. I'm sure that Tommy Robinson's X account has been very well promoted by Elon Musk. After all, he did bring him back onto Twitter in the first place, right? And that, I believe that that's part of the reason why they allowed Elon Musk to buy Twitter, because they needed some free speech savior to allow all of the not quotations, but Zionists to be amplified and platformed. And that brings me to Elon Musk, right? Who is, kind of sold as partially relatable. I think that at one point it was kind of like this goofy billionaire who's kind of like us. But what is he selling? Well, he's selling the idea of free speech, which conjoins very much in with Tommy Robinson and the free speech rally, the Unite the Kingdom rally. Elon Musk was there delivering a speech saying things like, "You must fight or die because violence is coming your way." I'm paraphrasing, but it was just something like that. And so you have to think to yourself, right? Okay, Elon Musk is being hailed now as this free speech hero. But sorry. But Elon Musk is actually a fraud. Allegedly. I assume I'm allowed to say that. It's kind of an opinion, right? And if you know about how even if you know just barely anything about how he came to power and how he got his money, you would know that, right? But he's being sold as this environmentalist who is pro free speech. So it's kind of like both sides can revere him in a way. The left, who are concerned about climate change, he's an electric car guy, la la la. The right, who care about free speech, he's enabling us to have free speech, except he isn't, because they're censoring people, they're promoting certain people and not others, they're shadow banning people and all this other stuff. So that isn't free speech at all. People aren't allowed to type anti-Semitic things. And Elon Musk came up on his dad's money. His dad co-owned a emerald mine in Zambia. And before that, he had money as well, his dad, Elon Musk. And this money was funneled into his business ventures. And there was a company, I think, called Zip something. And he used his dad's money, and then he had that, right? And then he obviously co-founded PayPal with the others, right? X.com merged with the others to make PayPal with Peter Thiel, the PayPal mafia. And you might think, well, it's just a coincidence that the new free speech platform is called X, when that was his previous company that merged with an antichrist Jew who seeks to replace us with AI and surveil us and, link that to digital ID. But I don't think so. Because, right, and well, before I say that, I was going to say that, and a lot of people think that Elon Musk was the pioneer of Tesla, right? It was like his ingenuity and intelligence and hard work and graft that made Tesla what it is today, but that is not true, because it was obviously founded by two different people, and then they had CEO after CEO after CEO because they had arguments with Elon Musk. And then Elon Musk got a lot of crowdfunding. He got a lot of money. He got a lot of investment, right, into Tesla because it needed it. It was essential. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been the company that it is today. And do you know where he got that money from? Well, the initial $13 million of investment came from Valor Ventures. Now, if you know me and you've listened to me, or even if you're just awake, you might know who co-founded Valor Ventures and which Jewish billionaire sent, tens of millions into Valor Ventures. So Valor Ventures was co-founded by Peter Thiel, and Jeffrey Epstein, I think it was 30 or 40 million. He gave 30 or 40 million to Peter Thiel for Valor Ventures. That's VALOR. So you could argue that Tesla was partially funded by Epstein. Obviously, we don't know that. That's just speculation, right? But what is true is that the Peter Thiel co-owned Valor Ventures, which received money from Epstein, gave money to Elon Musk. Then he received another 40 million from the Google co-founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin, as well as, and with that 40 million came investments from JP Morgan. So Elon Musk's rise to fame was effectively pushed through by his dad, and then Peter Thiel and Epstein, you could argue, and then the big banks, Jewish banks. So this is effectively a completely inorganic individual who has been plucked and put to the top. So it's essential that you revere Elon Musk, because when you look into these things, you might be someone who likes Elon Musk, but then when you hear this, you're not immediately gonna think he's the villain. You're gonna maybe err on the side of caution, do you know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna just immediately think, oh wow, this guy's trying to depopulate us and replace us with robots, right? Even though that is the truth. And a lot of his money, he when the PayPal was merged with Peter Thiel, he received a lot of money, right? And people talk about people who did well from the pandemic, and Elon Musk's Tesla was certainly one of them, because his stock price of Tesla went from $30 to almost $300 in less than 2 years. Obviously, right around the time of the pandemic. Now, I can't really. I mean, there's all sorts of reasons why you might theorize that, right? So, he's a complete and utter fraud, and he's got connections to Epstein. And we've obviously seen as well that he's been mentioned in the Epstein files. And we've seen that he said, oh, Donald Trump's in the Epstein files. And that whole beef was completely and utterly staged. And that kind of brings me to Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump is someone... Donald Trump, there's a term called Trump derangement syndrome. And Trump derangement syndrome applies to both sides. Ones who revere him like he's God, and ones who hate him like he's Satan. Because at the end of the day, this guy is just a billionaire who most likely got involved with Epstein, kind of like the rest of the billionaires. It's not like you would hate him any more than Bill Gates, or you would love him any more than Elon Musk. Do you know what I mean? And Donald Trump is a false idol, and you must revere Donald Trump. He is a salesman. He is selling you... It's basically the same as Farage, right? He's selling you this populist rhetoric, this idea that they're going to take back their country, mass deportations, America first. But in reality, he's just a Zionist-controlled actor. Received money from Mary Mendelssohn, received money from Elon Musk. And if you follow the money, if you're receiving money from Elon Musk, then you're receiving money from Peter Thiel, then you're receiving money from Epstein, Call me a conspiracy theorist for linking these people together. I don't think that's unreasonable. Especially when you think about the fact that they're both South African. And they had that weird car ride together as well back in the day. Musk and Thiel, right? And yeah, Donald Trump is another one, because you must revere Donald Trump. Because if he gets into office and starts war with Iran, for example, then if you revere him as a idol, despite him being a false idol, then you might go along with that for a moment. If he starts mass deportations, but it's not, and it's minimal deportations, and they're doing barely anything, then you might make excuses for him. You might give a bit more time. You might give a bit more leeway. And that principle applies to all of these false idols. And so, this is why it's so essential that you must revere them, because your opinion will flip the other way completely. And there's another layer to it as well. Because, and this links to the Paul Joseph Watson thing. Because Paul Joseph Watson, I don't know if you know him, right? And here's the thing, I'm not trying to just take shots at literally everyone. But it kind of just is like this, if you just are objective and logical. Paul Joseph Watson is, he seems like a patriot. And, he seems like someone who's doing good political journalistic work, making videos, speaking against the tyranny, la la la. But if you think about the fact that he's doing ads for Dogecoin, which was obviously pioneered by, pushed by Elon Musk, and you've just heard everything I've just said there about Elon Musk. And by the way, that wasn't even to mention the fact that his dad, Errol Musk, was allegedly a domestic abuser and also a child abuser, allegedly. Anyway, he's doing adverts for Dogecoin. Now, the chair of Dogecoin is a lawyer, and the lawyer, I believe it's Alex Spiro. Just gonna double check. Alex Spiro, that's it. And Alex Spiro, I mean, I'm doing this off the top of my head, right? I can show you. I can go to scene 3 if maybe we should go to scene 3. Yeah, fuck it, we'll do it. You can tell me if I'm the conspiracy theorist, right? Go to scene 3. Okay, nice. Right. So you tell me if I'm the conspiracy theorist. If I'm a conspiracy theorist, right? Alex Spiro is the chair of Dogecoin. In Paul Joseph Watson's own words, he is spearheading this whole thing. Now, someone told me that Spiro is like a spin-off of a Jewish name, but forget about that for a minute. Forget about the Jewish conspiracy for a minute, right? He has represented multiple celebrity clients, including Elon Musk. He is currently the personal attorney to Elon Musk. He's also represented Jay-Z. He's also represented Mr. Beast and Eric Adams, who is the Democratic mayor of New York. Born in New York, and in 2008, he received his Juris Doctor from Harvard. And during the program, he did a fellowship at the CIA. Is that normal? And you might be thinking, well, what is a fellowship, right? Yeah. Fellowship with the CIA. Now, we could look at this. Let's have a look at what AI says for the benefit of the argument, because this is a CIA controlled search engine at the end of the day, right? Graduate studies program, which often available to graduate users. It's not really giving me much here. Financial needs-based initiative that offers graduate students an unmatched experience. Gain practical work experience that complements their graduate studies. So, would I be wrong to say that, one sec. Would I be wrong to say that this sponsorship is raising eyebrows? Because I would say that's quite reasonable, right? But if you revere Elon Musk, then it's not going to raise your eyebrows, is it? If you think of Elon Musk as a great savior of free speech, then you're not going to question Paul Joseph Watson doing adverts for Dogecoin. However, if you have a moderate view of Elon Musk or a negative view of Elon Musk, then you might say, what does this sponsor mean? You might look into Alex Spiro. You might think, why is he doing a fellowship with the CIA? What is the CIA? How did the CIA come about? Is he Jewish? Who are his Jewish connections? Do you see what I'm saying? So, back to the start. Revering false idols is absolutely just necessary. It's one of the most necessary elements of the simulation. That's why I've done it on episode 4. Because without revering false idols, the whole thing comes down. And they don't have the time, they don't have the pitch to sell to the masses about their whole new world order. I could say to someone, Elon Musk has plans to, to use AI and take over the world and replace humans with robots. That's hyperbolic, but let's just say that. And an Elon Musk fan will say, well, I trust him. I don't believe he's going to do that. Oh, la la la. Because they've got you to revere a false idol, which is extremely important. And another thing is, which I tweeted this the other day, when you revere a false idol, you fail to realize your enemy. Because you're revering the enemy. They've made it, and the propaganda is so strong that they've made it so that people actually revere their enemy. Do people revere Tommy Robinson? Yes. Do they revere Elon Musk? Yes. Do they revere Donald Trump? Yes. Are these people on your side? No. Therefore, whose side are they on? Think about it logically. Right? Let me see. There might have been another point that I added on to that. I don't know if you can tell, but I did actually prepare for the show today. So, but if you can tell, but yeah. No, yeah, that was basically it, right? And I do want people to think, if you're a listener of mine and you have any opinion of Elon Musk that isn't very negative, I do want you to think about the fact that Tesla received money from Valor Ventures, which received money from Jeffrey Epstein. And Jeffrey Epstein conducted one of the biggest blackmail operations in all of modern history in order to benefit the Israeli Mossad and the Israeli Greater Israel Project. And so, when you think about the fact that Elon Musk is funding Tommy Robinson, it makes a lot more sense. It makes a lot more sense, yeah, that Elon Musk is funding Tommy Robinson because they're both Zionists. They are both interested in Greater Israel because they are both part of the global cult that seeks to replace us and benefit them. People were saying, oh, it's just, and this is the simulation. This is the simulation. People were saying, oh, I can't believe Elon Musk is funding far-right Tommy Robinson. And then the right are saying, he's not far-right. We love Elon Musk. And when people hear far-right now, they think of it as a good thing. Can you believe that? Because the mainstream media have demonized it so much, and there's such low trust in the mainstream media. So when they hear far-right, they think, well, they say it's far-right, but it's just normal. People like Adam Brooks. Oh, I'm not far-right, I'm just normal. Well, you're a GB News contributor, so you're not exactly normal. And that's another thing, right? If you know someone who's a GB News contributor, they cannot be trusted. Do not trust them for nothing, as far as you can throw them. So it makes a lot of sense, right? When you think about what I've just told you, why Elon Musk would be helping Tommy Robinson. I suppose it's just a coincidence that Elon Musk received money from Peter Thiel, who is Jewish and pro-Israel, and Peter Thiel, who received money from Epstein, who is Jewish and a Mossad operative, who conducted a blackmail operation on UK and US politicians in order to further the benefit of Israel. I suppose it's just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence. Anyway, that was that. Yeah, fair. That was 34 minutes. That was actually, it's all right. And then I'm gonna get into the rest of it real quick. I'm gonna try not to crash out. I'm not gonna lie, I might crash out, but I'm gonna try not to. I have had a pretty good day, so I'm in a good mood, right? But let's move on to the next thing, right? Hold up. Now, the thing is, right, is that I do need to be careful about what I say, because I know that there are people in high places, or not that high, people in higher places than me who watch my streams and who know me and listen to me. People with higher up connections than I could ever dream of, pretty much, that watch me, and so I do need to be careful about what I say, right? And I will, but I will remain reasonably unfiltered, because I know that's why you like me, right? I'm partly, at least, I think. Anyway, right, let's get into... Sorry, I've just seen something else that I had pulled up. Sorry, I've got to go back to that real quick. Tony Blair met with Jeffrey Epstein while Prime Minister. So, that's just a coincidence that Tony Blair's part of the... Oh, God. Part of the Palestinian reconstruction for a technocratic state? Well, let's move past it. Let's move past it, right? So, we're not going to do this, right? So, we'll talk about this first, right? Now, forgive me for citing Inevitable West. I know Inevitable West is an Indian and whatever, right? I really despise this account. It's foreign interference, and I just hate it, right? Just stop. Anyway, Donald Trump is planning to accept and prioritize refugee claims from white Europeans who oppose mass migration. Now, if you have an IQ above 75, you would know, if you're British or European, you would know immediately why this is a big problem. It would scream right in your face. It would be like glaring directly at you. If you're not a propagandist and you're not someone who's extremely dumb, you would understand why this is a problem. And the reason why it's a problem is because we are being ethnically cleansed already. Okay? We are witnessing our ethnicity be wiped out as it is, my guy. Yeah? So it's like, can you, like, not help, not facilitate the ethnic cleansing even further? Like, if white Europeans who oppose mass migration go to America, who opposes mass migration? Conservatives. Conservatives are having families. So if 50,000 people go to America, or 10,000 families go to America, that's multiple generations that we're losing in Europe. The Muslim population of America is 1%. The Muslim population of the UK is 6%. There's more Muslims in the UK than Wales. So, forgive me for not thinking that this is based... my bad, I have an IQ above 75. Because this is contributing to the ethnic replacement of our people. And I'm sorry, but I watched Nick Fuente. I watched Fuente. That's more Italian. Well, he is Italian. Fuente's show, right? And he's like, based. Yeah, this is based. It's like, are you a propagandist or what? Because I know you're smart. I know he's not European, right? But I know he's intelligent. So surely he has to consider the ethnic replacement side of this. If thousands of families flood into America and leave Europe, then while the Muslim population grows, is that supposed to be beneficial for the future of our people? Obviously not. I'm already crashing out. And here's what you might notice, right, with these types of posts, as you can see here. If you're an observant individual, you've got a very flattering image of Donald Trump, I would argue, because he's not the best. I mean, he's 80 odd, but he's not exactly the best looking. And here they've made him look quite good. And then in this side, you've got patriots raising the flags. So look, all you patriots, come over here. Donald Trump's great. And this is literally going back to what I said at the start of the show. It's like I'm speaking it into existence. If you revere Donald Trump positively, then you're not going to think about this as part of the ethnic replacement of the Europeans, are you? You're going to think, yeah, W. Trump, he based, because you're a dribbler. But if you have a neutral opinion or a negative opinion, then you're going to think, hang on, this is contributing to the ethnic replacement of my people. The Muslims are populating more than us, and you're trying to take us away. If you want to help us, what you should do is maybe, firstly sort your own country out, because you've got 55% white people over there anyway. Maybe start mass deportations first. Maybe actually live up to your word. Maybe stop fighting wars for Israel. Yeah? Before you start contributing to the ethnic replacement of our people. The fact that anyone thinks this is a good idea, it's quite mind-blowing actually, because it's like people on the left now in America suddenly oppose immigration, and people on the right suddenly are for it. Amazing how that happens, isn't it? When it's based around skin color or, ideology or identity. Amazing. How is this even America first? If you're Fuente, how is this America first? It isn't. It's putting Europeans first. At least the ones who are migrating over there. Oh, well, they're going to contribute to our society. And they're going to assimilate. But they're still not Americans. Still not putting America first. Anyway. That was the first thing. And then there was another thing, right? Don't know how much time I'm going to spend on this, because I don't want to crash out too crazy. Right. But you might have seen this viral video, right? One sec. You might have seen the viral video of the Iceland incident. We'll take a watch together. I don't know how loud this is for your ears. I'll turn it down a little bit. But we've obviously got a bit of a riff-raff, you might say, going on here, yeah? But you get the idea, right? There's basically a woman shoplifter, and then this guy is like, I would argue, using excessive force to try and stop the shoplifting. Now, if you know a thing about UK law, you would know that in the prevention of a crime, you are permitted to use reasonable force. So you could have the debate about whether this was reasonable force. I'm not really interested in having that debate. Let's just say, for the argument's sake, that this was excessive force. Right. So I want someone to riddle me this, right? I know this beef is one-sided. I said this earlier. I don't care. I'm just giving my analysis, okay? Leave me alone. Whatever. Zuma Historian says, why are right-wingers defending Muslims whipping native women? I don't care if she shoplifted. She's one of ours, and he's a foreign invader. No foreign should ever, under any circumstances, lay their hands on our women. Pick your own side. Pick your own side, he says. We'll come back to that. This guy, and look, I know I'm just calling out all of them, but I just have to. Someone needs to do it. And I basically have the same opinion of this person of James Goddard as I do of Steve Laws. I don't think he's as deranged as Steve Laws, but, Now, he posted it, and he says, deport this savage now. An English lady is flogged with a belt, blah, blah, blah. Our people should not have to live like this. Now, we're rolling with the... Now, it's actually come out that allegedly nothing was reported stolen. But we are assuming, because of this, right, that it was a shoplifter, right? Now, I'm not saying that it is a shoplifter. I'm just saying for the sake of argument, for sake of circumstantial analysis, right? Our people should not have to live like this? What the fuck are you talking about? Our people shouldn't have to live like this. Do you mean the ones who are having to deal with the shoplifters? Because the shoplifters shouldn't be stealing. Unless we're just advocating for shoplifting now. Unless the right have become so deranged that they are now advocating for shoplifting. I don't know. Our people should not have to live like this. Find him, name him, arrest him, and then deport. Here's the thing. Is that if I was stealing from a shop, right, like Iceland, and someone caught me, and someone smacked me with a belt, I'd say, do you know what? I deserved it because I'm being a twat. I'm stealing, and that is having a knock-on effect on the common man. Because shops are having to put shit behind security barriers because of the rampant shoplifting. And do you know what's wild about this whole thing? Is that she said that she normally goes into Waitrose. This woman. She said it at the end of the video. I might be able to... One sec. We might be able to... I don't know if... Wait, could you... the desktop audio was off, so that's good, right? But listen, you might be able to hear it, right?
In your bag, I catch you, I kick you out.
You don't assault people, you arsehole. What's your name?
Fuck off.
His name's Fuck Off, apparently. Right, every single staff member in here has seen it.
What? Sorry. What the fuck? What's this? See, to the unobservant eye, or inobservant, you know, you don't pick up on the Canada Goose jacket. Yeah? Anyway.
I want him arrested. I'm leaving the store to take my kid to school. He won't give me his name. You've got my mobile number. I want him arrested for assault. Every single staff member. Oh, what's your name? You're witnesses, okay? Aren't you? Yeah? You hit me. You're not allowed to come and assault.
How many times I catch you in the
My
shop?
address is...
Remember, you put too many sauce in your bag, I catch you, I kick you out.
in the laugh. You still don't hit people. That's assault.
Okay, she might not have said the Waitrose thing. I thought I did hear that, but she is wearing a Zanetti Canada Goose fucking jacket. Like, give me a break, bro. Like, this shit is so stupid. Anyway, so I'm still on this screen. Like, let me pull my shit. Let me pull my face up a bit here. So, our people shouldn't have to live like this. So, do you mean, again, the security guard? Because this woman in a Canada Goose jacket is stealing. Yeah? Shoplifting is a crime. Are we endorsing crime now? But it gets way worse. Way worse, right? As you might have seen here. Mitch, whoever, I don't know who this guy is. If it was a white worker doing that to a brown shoplifter, you'd all be cheering and praising him. Yes, of course. Help me understand. Help me understand. Help me understand. Like, actually help me understand. Can I get some understanding here? Because I'm not with it. I'm not understanding. I don't get this. You know, I am. You might consider me to be right wing. I'm anti mass immigration. I'm anti the replacement. I'm for saving our ethnicity. Our ethnicity means something. You know, English is distinct. British is an ethnicity. Our ethnicity is being hijacked. Can you explain this to me? And I'm not trying to virtue signal here. I'm asking. But it gets worse. Yeah? Because did I bookmark it? I don't know. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Did I do it? Did I do it or did I not? No, I didn't. Right. So we're going to have to do some we're going to have to go back to our favorite friend, right? Our favorite goy. Right. That's a foreigner whipping a native. Absolutely disgusting to see. People defending this. Deport the scumbag. Right. And then I realized actually the worst post was from Zuma Historian. So Zuma Historian says pick your own side. So okay. So let's assume that there was shoplifting going on here. Which is, I think, a reasonable assumption to make. So Zuma Historian says, pick your own side. Okay. So a crime has been committed by a white person. And a brown person is inflicting punishment. And I should choose the side of the criminal. Your logic, not mine. So, because of the ethnicity of the person, I should choose the side of the criminal. Because of the ethnicity. Choose your own side. That's his words. So let's hypothesize for a moment. Let's say it was a white man raping a brown child, and a brown man came in and stomped on the head of the white rapist, the white child rapist. Who am I siding with here? Am I picking my own side? Or am I looking at it like a normal, objective, logical, sane human and saying she shouldn't be shoplifting? Because shoplifting is a crime and you shouldn't do it. And if you get smacked, then that's on you. Because you're a pussy and you're stealing in your Zanetti jacket. Obviously, they don't pick up on that. They're not very observant. So, riddle me that. Answer me that question, yeah? Help me understand, yeah? So, I'm supposed to pick my own side when a person is committing a crime based on ethnicity. So, woman walks into a shop, steals, somebody has an issue with it and hits her, and the somebody who hits her is a foreigner, therefore I must side with the English woman because she's English, despite the fact that she's committed a crime. Take the logic to its furthest extent. A man rapes a child of brown ethnicity, foreign ethnicity, and another brown man stomps on the head of the white rapist. Am I supposed to call for the deportation of the man who stamped on the white man's head, the white child rapist's head? Because if so, this is why you're losing people. This is exactly what I said to Angloid. Yeah? Because you people need intellectual, you need someone who has a little bit of, intelligence to criticize you from your flank. You need it desperately. Clearly, right? You clearly need it desperately. This is why you're losing people. And I said it to Hugh. I sent Hugh, Prioritize Britain. I said, I was going to join Remigration Now. I was in their shitty little group chat, believe it or not. This is how the whole thing started in the first place. This is how these dribbling weirdos are on my For You page on X in the first place. Because I was added to their group chat. And I'm reading the shit in the group chat and I'm like, fuck. I'm not going to, But, it is what it is, right? I'm not saying that they're racist and I'm not saying anything like that, right? I'm not going to use these words. I'm just saying that they're weird. They're dumb and their arguments are illogical. You are trying to push the Overton window and get people on your side about immigration, and this is the rhetoric that you come out with. You call for the deportation of a innocent worker, a worker who's just doing his job. Then there is a shoplifter and he flips out and you think, oh, deport him. And you take the side of him over the criminal scumbag with a Zanetti Canada Goose jacket who's stealing, which has a knock-on effect to the common English man who has to pay more for groceries. You are doing way more harm than good to your movement. And I just can't believe that these people even have this mentality in the first place. It's the mentality that you will have when nobody criticizes your viewpoints and your talking points. So you're welcome, if anything, because someone who is intellectual, like me, is giving you logical reasoning as to why you people sound deranged. And here's another thing. Because if you've got this far into the show, and then if you've watched the show up until this point, and now you're listening to this part, you would start to understand why there is a problem with people on the internet. Because the algorithms are controlled by Elon Musk on X, and therefore the deep state. So they can push these ideas, they can propagate them, they can flood bot farms to their accounts, which they do, because I've seen the botted accounts, and they are extremely obvious. And then the normal concerned people about immigration look like this. They look like the type of people that side with a criminal over someone who's just trying to do his job, and then gets frustrated and flips out. And by the way, you are permitted to use reasonable force when you are trying to prevent a crime. You might say it's unreasonable. We can have that conversation. But to just dismiss the criminal activity because of the ethnicity, and it's just intellectually bankrupt, or you're a bad faith actor, which is what I said in the beginning. And it's like these people are trying their best every day to vindicate me further, to make me seem more intelligent, to make me seem more with it than they are. You know, the other day you've got, I'm really trying to keep the name out of my mouth, but the Steve Laws saying, you know, quote tweeting the Waymo development coming to the UK, saying, because what that is autonomous taxis, right, which is going to wipe out loads of jobs. And he says, well, it's better than having brown people do it. And it's like, hey, genius. When AI gets developed enough, there's not going to be any need for the brown people, and there's not going to be any need for the white people. And guess what costs more? Who costs more to employ? Why are the billionaires importing this labor? Is it because they're more expensive? No. So, I would seriously implore, right? One sec. I would seriously implore these people to do some introspective analysis, to look at themselves, to analyze their position. Do you really believe what you're saying? Do you really attribute yourself to these opinions? Because if you're a decent human being, I don't think you would. If you're a propagandist, then you are going to. You're there to push a rhetoric. But I just don't think that these people are serious. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that. Let's get into the chat. Unfortunately, I can actually do it on here because I don't need to. I don't need to show you, but yeah. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. That's the show, right? That's the show. I hope you enjoyed. To the 12 watching live, I do appreciate you. I appreciate you all, right? I appreciate you very much. My top people, yeah. Let's see what we're saying. I hope we're all doing well. I do really hope you enjoyed the show. I did put a bit of work into it this time, which was the first time. So I do hope maybe it's reflected, maybe it's not. Anyway, let's see what we're saying. You lied to us about Minecraft. Yes, Elise, I appreciate you. I'm going live on Minecraft after this stream. After I've got into the chat. After we've had a little chat with the chat, right? It's difficult on YouTube because it's a bit further behind, but it is what it is. Algorithm soon to be controlled by Ellison. Yep. That's true. Steve Laws is like 45 though, grown-ass man. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I did not think he was 45. I'll give that to him. He looks a lot younger. But that's kind of wild. If he's 40, there's no way he's actually. I don't think he's 45. I don't think he's 45. But yeah, Joel, did you ever defend Sam in the live before I left to watch Reese's scam live? What? It's alright, Rule Britannia. It's all uploaded. It's all uploaded to YouTube. So if you do want to watch it again, or if you missed it, then you can go and watch it. It's on my live section. If you go to, I'll just show you. If you go to my channel, go to live, then it's there. I don't know why. Oh yeah. So they're all there, right? Oh, soon. Episode 2 is soon coming. Don't worry. Yeah, soon coming. So yeah, it's all there for you. It's all there for you. All right. Anywho. Let me take this down again. Explain this to grown adults is even more crazy. True. I found a roll of discount stickers in Iceland and put them on my shopping, but I'll never do it again after seeing this. I don't know what that's referring to. Can you clarify that? I don't know what that's referring to. Discount stickers. Do you mean the do you mean the carbon thing? I don't know. That guy was low-key based, but he should not have been protecting a corporate entity that hard. Reese, we aren't skipping over you saying there are more Muslims in the UK than Wales, by the way. Is that not true? I heard that. I heard that. That's what I heard. If that's not true, then that's my bad. You know, that's my bad, but that's what I heard. I heard that. So, Patrick Christie's would look better in a mental institution than behind a GB News camera. I think Patrick Christie's is okay. Again, he's a GB News contributor, so you know, you can't take him seriously. But I do think he maybe has a reason to, I don't know, it's hard to say. You didn't prepare Minecraft though, did you? I did, I prepared it, don't worry. Well, not really, but I will be live on Minecraft momentarily. Not for long though, probably be like half an hour. Alize, he definitely goes Pure Gym or something. I don't. Nice live, thank you Alfie, appreciate it. Appreciate you, good to see you in the chat. The genetically modified mosquitoes were my favourite from Bill Gates. Yep. I mean, that's wild. I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah, I've just remembered. They had the little code on them. And, yeah, and then there's that whole issue with AIDS in Africa. I don't know if those two things are linked, but... Yes. Alize, oh my god. Minecraft, I'll be live on Minecraft just after the stream, so... Minecraft is a distraction, future king. Thank you. Yeah, well, that's it. That's what we got so far. Did you know that the risk of Down syndrome increases with the age of a woman? I did not. I don't know if that's true, but yeah. No, Reese. Patrick has an IQ of 81. Yeah, that's to be expected. Wales is in the UK. Obviously, there will be more. Reese, are you dumb? Yeah, I guess. Just fact check the Muslims versus Wales thing, and you're right. 3.9 million versus 3.2 million. Oh right, so what I meant to say was there are more Muslims in the UK than there are Welsh people in the UK. I think that's what that was. But that was the point again. The point earlier about people saying that it's based. It's so based that Donald Trump is accepting these immigrants. This is the type of shit that makes me think Fuente is controlled opposition, and you know anyone else who said that. But you know. Yeah. Now I will give a little bit of time for the chat if you guys have any more questions, but I do appreciate you tuning in. I think it's been a decent live. I think it's been all right. We're about an hour in so far, so that's good. That's what we want. Ideal. No ad breaks. So, and I'm not gonna do ad break. I don't think that I will take advertisements, because when you take advertisements, like I mentioned earlier about Paul Joseph Watson, it's like, you know, you're just beholden to the deep state at that point. Yeah. And I don't want to be beholden to the deep state. That's not really what I'm interested in. Study comes from NTNU, a university in Norway. And did you check out Johannes MK? I think I did, yeah. I think I did. Do not like Nick Fuentes. No, I do like him. But I do disagree with a lot of what he says. A lot of what he says, I'm listening to it and I'm like, you know. You didn't say that the first time. You said more Muslims in Wales and the UK. Oh, okay, that's my bad. Yeah. Well, no, I'm still an amateur at this, okay? So bear with me. Yeah. No, I think Fuentes is good, right? But I just, yeah, a lot of the shit he says, I just think that's just not true. So yeah, that's the way I look at that. But yeah. Anyway, let's wrap this up now. Appreciate you all. I'm not gonna lie, the time absolutely flies by when I do these. Absolutely just despawns out the map. Like, it's crazy. We'll do a Minecraft stream for probably about half an hour, something like that. Maybe 40 minutes. If I can get it all up and loaded, and then I'll be back live on this account very momentarily. But I hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Simulation. If you have, then remember to leave a like. I would appreciate that a lot. If you haven't already, then subscribe. Let me know what you think as well. Let me know. I would really appreciate constructive criticism. You know, I'm not trying to get glazed out here, but like if you've got anything negative that you want to say, if there was any sort of, if there's any criticism that you have, if there was any if there's any positives that you might want to add on, things that I could do better, then definitely let me know. You want to see me debate Steve Laws? Yeah, I would love to. It'd be free. I'd debate any of these people. It's free. So yeah. Anyway, appreciate you all. I'll chat to you in about 15 minutes when I'm live again on Minecraft. Take care. Have a good one. See you later.